Alright, so I have this Samsung LE32B450C4W 32-inch LCD. And the fault today with this set is that it just flashes the standby LED. So I'm going to go about diagnosing it and hopefully repairing it. So let's take the back cover off. So I thought that for once I was getting a TV that wasn't that dusty, as these vents aren't really clogged, but oh dear. This one is got some weird dust in it. It's a dry type of dust. Camera's not picking it up too awful well. So I'm going to vacuum this out before I dare do anything, because that dust is pretty bad. Yeah, I'll vacuum this out and then we'll get on to diagnosing this. Okay, so we're going to start troubleshooting. And these TVs, along with many other Samsungs, have something which is quite useful to help you troubleshoot. Now, if the power supply is good, the backlight will come on if we do this. So all you have to do is unplug the main board. If you unplug that and apply power to the TV, the backlight should fire on. So if the power supply is good, we'll see backlight. And no backlight. So I think that the power supply is not working, so we should see the backlight fire on. Now what we're going to do now is check some voltages. I declared earlier as well that this TV had standby, but actually I don't think it did. So we set the meter over here. There's a chart here which tells you the pin out. There's a little legend here. So this first row of pins is the only set of pins that's used on this model. So we see that the second pin down is standby, 5-volt standby, so I'm going to check that. And there's no 5-volt standby. So I'm going to do the detect 5-volt. There's nothing. There's nothing on any of these voltage rails, so one last thing is we're going to plug the main board back in and see if we get the voltages then. Still nothing. So for some reason there's no voltage on the secondary of the power supply. I'm going to see if we're getting any voltage across our PFC section. Use the same chassis ground. I'm literally just going to check this diode. And there's nothing, so the power supply is officially dead. So we're going to unhook it from the mains, and then we're going to start checking for failed devices in the circuit, so we'll do that now. Okay, so what I'm doing is I have my desolder station, and what I do is I'm sucking up all the old solder off the joint, as you can see here. And we'll use my soldering iron to add fresh solder basically. And I'm going to do it to every device that's mounted on a heatsink on this supply. And I'm also going to do all the solder joints that actually hold the heatsink to the board. Because they normally tend to break after a while, so I'm going to do that and then we'll see what happens. Okay, so I've resoldered the bridge rectifier, as you can see, and the switching transistors, and the output diodes as well, basically anything that's mounted on a heatsink. And I resoldered the heatsink support studs, so let's get this in the TV and see what happens next. The first power on, and look at that backlight. Awesome, so let's unplug that now. plug the mainboard connector in and see what happens. So we got standby. Oh, God, that was fast. And it's on. Ta-da! So it's pretty awesome. And that was a very quick and simple repair. So, good stuff. Just a simple failed solder joint on the power supply. Unfortunately, this isn't going to be a very reliable TV. It has these transformers. In fact, I actually just got done replacing a similar transformer earlier. It's basically almost the same as the ones used on this TV. Although the windings on this one has a few more windings because it's doing a few more, powering a few more lamps, but yeah. So something really simple keeps this TV out of the trash. The owners were planning on chucking this out, so excellent. Let's put it back together and start testing it. Okay, so it's all repaired. I've had it on for a few hours and it's actually quite warm for only having like 2 boards in it. Well, 3, but the T-Con's tiny anyway, so. It was a simple one, this one, just a broken solder joint, but I know there is quite a few more known issues with this model, but I didn't cover any of them because I didn't have to. In fact, I've had quite a few Samsung TVs where the failure has been broken solder joints, especially on the plasmas, like the PS50Q96s and that, and other Samsung TVs. I've had quite a few issues with cracked solder joints, so what is it that they're doing wrong? 'Cause it's a pretty consistent failure on Samsung's failed solder joints is, so yeah. This was a simple one anyway. I didn't have to replace anything because sometimes failed solder joints can actually cause parts to fail. And I've done a few Samsung plasmas which solder joints are cracked and then blew up a device. This one was a simple one, so thanks for watching.